I'm going to touch on the rhythm guitars. We had some fun here. We tracked them DI. And then when it came time to work on final tones, we had some extra time left over and we decided to reamp. We reamped just the head, which I thought was really fun. I am a really big fan of the cab in Howard Benson Cab 2. You can see the amp's off, the pedals are off. Everything's off here. It's just this Cab 2. Don't know what it is. This cab is really dark, but it cuts really well. I think when we were tracking, I was using a GGD cab, but when it came to mixing, I did this guy. I thought it was a better cab. So, you know, when you're reamping ahead, all you're getting is this sound.
Which load box?
A Sur reactive load.
Oh, nice. Yeah, those are great.
It was a Rev, the 120. I can't remember. But yeah, and then I opted for just this cab. It's a cab I use when I'm doing amp sim a lot of the time. I'm using this plugin for like just straight up rock stuff. And I like mid forward guitar. I'm not the biggest scoop guy when it comes to guitar tones. So living in that like rock and roll cab world, I was really happy with. And then just some corrective EQ, which I'll talk about in a sec. But you know, here's that rhythm tone just kind of blazing post reamp into the cab. Heat's doing some stuff here too. I'll bypass it. It's just adding a little bit of that extra flavor on top. Basically doing that tape thing. Like you hear that extra little sizzle. And I think it goes, because I have it post, it's going post the EQ cleanup too, which I like. It's like reintroducing some fizz, but not that bad amp fizz, that good tape fizz. And then EQ-wise, I mean, here's where I get into some dynamic stuff. Guitars are a big spot where I get into dynamic tones. You know, he's going to chug around here is where the chug's going to peak the most. And I'm not looking for a crazy control over it. I'm looking just for a bit. You literally see it go on those chugs. And then problem spots in most cabs around 2.3, at least most. I think cab 2 is like a Marshall style, like a greenback sort of cab. Mesa cabs do this too, like V30s do it too, but there's just so much in the 2.1 to 2.3 range that is painful to the ears. But if you nuke too much of it, like anything, you miss it. So I think I went dynamic there. So at the worst of it, it's coming out. Without it, which I don't mind the sound of, to be entirely honest. And then with it, it just cleans that moment up. Probably something whistly around 33 I didn't like. Who would like that?
Ooh.
And that's a thing that, see, I didn't go dynamic because I know that I don't want any of that in the guitar tone. So, or not any, I mean, I only took out 3 dB of it, but like, I didn't want it to have to pop its way in and out. That is just a set it and forget it move. And then around the 4K thing, I'm late to the 4K game. I understand why everybody jokes about it now. It's a terrible sound, but it has its purpose in the sense of you take too much out, just like you soothe cymbals too much, or you over DS a vocal, or you whatever, and it will do more harm than good. So I have it again sort of set to a dynamic thing. And if you notice, these react the most on those chugs, which means that's where that stuff's being pushed when your hand is kind of pushing more volume out. That's where the dynamic thing comes in handy, because it's like, I definitely want it gone if it's popping out too much, but I don't want it gone if that's the decision I'm making to begin with. I'm making the decision to see the dynamic band kind of chill. Now you're chugging. Oh, you're pushing that up. Cool. That's where the dynamic band's really going to kick in and do the most work. And then this is just, I've sort of talked about it on bass, cleaning up that top fizz from a cab that you might not like. Nothing in particular I'm looking for with that. Usually it'll be off and then I'll listen to. cleans it up, just does the right little move. And the left and right tones were the same on this. So just, literally copying and moving those things over. I think I changed the curve a little bit, so I'll move it there. And then on my whole rhythm bus, just to sort of, this is post down the line, you sort of stack some stuff up. Took out a little bit more down here in the low mid, and took out a little bit more between that 23, 25, because it started really kind of building up. There's this little fuzzy guitar I think I gave. I don't remember if I printed it with the micro shift. I was using this. It's like it sort of trades off with some of the lead things. It does a riff with the rhythms for a second and then switches to an octave. It's doing that sort of 80s thing to the rhythm where it pops in and out. It only happens, twice in the whole song on that like intro riff. And I think it's to kind of give that lift off the bat. There's no lead guitar right off the bat. There's nothing, but I want some sort of like movement. So the micro shift does that like chorus effect. I don't think I have it full. Yeah, no, I've got it like 60%. This is meant to be a mono guitar, but it's also meant to move a little bit. And it was Fortin Nameless, I'm pretty sure, but just with a different cab. The up front, which I really like. Up front's probably my favorite cab in this thing. Almost similar EQ settings, but solving different problems. There's a bit of a whistle there. This is a single coil, I'm pretty sure, so that's probably that classic single coil whistle that I'm trying to just mitigate a bit of. So it's this piece that just shifts between rhythm and lead to kind of thicken up when it's needed. And I think the other rhythms was this little filtered one in the bridge. Gain reduction. I love using gain reduction on lo-fi guitars. It like holds them super great into place, especially when you pull the body out. It does that like really quick attack, which clearly I like, especially in FET sounding stuff, which I think this has a lot of FET built into it. I love that like quick grab. Whatever this tone is, by the way, is the same as the fuzz mid and the other riff filter. It's I just flew the EQ settings over and then decapped it a little bit to bring some of that other like aggression back. Also make it a different type of lo-fi. I think this high cut's moving as we do it too. I bet you that's a mistake. Yeah, it should be opening like that. That's what's happening. It's like the slightest filter. I had one knob doing it at first, but it wasn't doing it for me. So I think ended up just kind of automating the high pass or the low pass down a bit. And that's just an even more lo-fied version. Maybe doing, even tighten the EQ up again, but still gain reduction doing that final hold on it. Really do love this thing on guitars to do like crunchy lo-fi business. It gets really compressy really quickly. That's why the slay is super, super low on it, but